Item number 2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Milburn, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'd kindly join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one country, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Milburn. Item number 3, roll call of board members. Michelle, please.
Russo,
Present. And
Melvin,
I'm also meeting out of my residence at 13285 West Shore Drive.
okay, Melvin,
Present at my residence at 9460 Oakwood Drive, Roscommon, Michigan.
Schneider,
Here, I'm in my office at the county building.
Melbourne,
I'm in Mr. Milburn's office using his coffee cup. Thank you.
Muckenthaler,
President, I'm in my office in the county building.
Okay, thank you. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. But before we do that, I talked to each one of you yesterday, I believe, in regards to the board rules. We have one slight adjustment I'd like to make and do that before we accept the agenda. On page 3 of the board rules, 3.4, notification to media and others. It's been recommended by Michelle, by our clerk, Michelle Stevenson, and I agree. The first sentence would stay. The second and third sentence would be deleted. And in place of that, it will read, individuals or organizations wishing to receive notice of posted Board of Commissioners meetings may sign up for an email notification at www.roscommoncounty.net. So with the permission of the board, I'd like to have that added. The 2 sentences deleted and the other added to the board rules. And with that, I'll be looking for an approval of the agenda with those changes.
So move with your recommendations, adjustments, and changes, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, motion's made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Russo to approve the agenda with the changes that we just talked about. Any further discussion from any commissioner at this time? Hearing none, roll call.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes,
Schneider,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Melbourne,
Yes,
Okay. Item number 5, approval of minutes for meetings of December 9th, 2020 and December 18th, 2020, regular meetings.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Motion's made by Commissioner Muckenthaler and seconded by Commissioner Snyder to accept or approve the approve the minutes of meetings December 9th and December 18th, 2020. Any further discussion from any commissioner? Hearing none, roll call.
Russo,
Yes.
Melbourne,
yes,
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes,
Okay. Item number 6, any public comment at this time, please? Anybody out in Zoom land? Okay, hearing none. On to claims and accounts, Michelle, please.
move to approve Class A bills in the amount of $405,231.49.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Russo to approve Class A's in the amount of $405,231.49. Any further discussion from any commissioner at this time, please? Hearing none, roll call.
Melbourne,
yes,
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes,
Okay, claims and accounts, please.
move to approve claims and accounts in the amount of $111,755.90.
I'll make that motion.
second,
Motion is made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Melvin to approve claims accounts for $111,755.90. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing none, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Russo,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Melvin,
yes,
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Okay, item number 8, Administrator Controller Report, please.
Well, good morning again. So where we're at right now, a couple different things. The CBGB grant, that's the hard one for me to say, funding, I did extend that to our townships as the grant does allow for any reimbursements they might not have received that specifically relate to COVID. I do know for a fact that 2 townships, Garish and Roscommon, did discuss that on their agenda, but didn't have anything that fits the criteria. It's a lot more specific than some of the state grants have been. However, our townships do have through January 15th in order to supply me with that information. So potentially we could see something come through. I mean, it could be as little as $300 or covering overtime for someone who was sick and removed for COVID that hasn't been covered by another grant. So I am working on a final audit for the public safety, public health payroll reimbursement grant. I also have been discussing with our Roscommon County Road Commission Finance Manager the applications of cost allocation to the Road Commission funds. There is some discrepancy between what the finance manager feels may be legal versus what our cost allocation team and the Department of Treasury says is allowed. So we're kind of working through that right now. The charge is only for indirect costs. They cannot be related to statutory duties of like the clerk or the treasurer or the Board of Commissioners. So none of these actually are. And due to those limited allowances for cost allocation, it keeps the charge really low to the Road Commission. It's about $300,000. I will tell you with some of the oversight in this office that we've had to increase in the last year that I think it's worth it to make sure that we're charging that just like we charge all of our other special funds. That includes Commission on Aging and the Sheriff's Department, 911. I don't think we should exclude some funds over others necessarily in cost allocation. I can see Vance over there going, yep, you better not. So he's not a huge cost allocation fan either. Good news, Gypsy Moth is working on finalizing the spray areas, the spray blocks for 2021. We don't have estimates available at this time, but I can promise you it will be over 20,000 acres. I was talking to Commissioner Muckenthaler earlier and told him my guess is we'll be looking at probably about $800,000 worth of spray. I tend to guess a little large, but it has been a bad year. Though nobody seems to know, like, just like the perfect storm for conditions, and you know, everything comes off of state land and our surrounding counties don't have programs, and nobody tells the Gypsy Moth they can't come over those county borders. So that has been something we've been dealing with as well. I did send out yesterday the GIS position description to all of the commissioners. That is a position that will be starting in coordination with the leaving of our full-time position in the equalization office and picking up some of those duties that are related to equalization, land splits, combinations, those types of things, as well as picking up the GIS portion of our IT director's position, who dual roles. He kind of grandfathered himself, or was grandfathered into that, I guess would be the best way to say that. But we will be working forward with that. The Wage and Compensation Committee did place it into a level 5, which was on the back of the job description that I showed you. And I will be bringing that to the board at the next meeting, hopefully for approval, and discussing it with the Personnel Committee a little bit more over the next 2 weeks. Commissioner Melvin and myself have been planning for interviews for the Director of Buildings and Grounds. We do currently have about 25 resumes, cover letters. We will continue to accept those through the 25th. And at that point, we will work to schedule first interviews. We'll come up with a scoring sheet basically to narrow down those applicants who meet minimum qualifications, but may be above and beyond that we really want to do those first Zoom interviews with as well. I'm doing some follow-up on our designated assessor application for the state. We are waiting for full information from several townships. Several townships sent us only minutes or the signed resolution instead of both. So I'm waiting for that to come back. I did have 3 townships that were perfect. So I reached out to those clerks to thank them personally for doing so. I had mentioned at the last meeting the MSB Restart program that was through small business grant reliefs. We did receive $40,250 for essentially reimbursements that relate to, our Brenda essentially performing those administrative duties. With that, we've created a special projects fund, so its own separate fund. We have to do some fancy accounting where we'll use that $40,000 to reimburse the EDC department budget for their costs associated with administration, and then the general fund will in turn donate same amount of money back. The Board of Commissioners really, I think, need to provide some direction to the chairman and to Commissioner Milburn in regards to how you would like to see that EDC special projects money funded. Are you looking at a broadband project? Are we looking at potentially bringing on some sort of consultant? Do you want to put that into developing more of a planning economic development project through the Planning Commission like we talked earlier? So you have lots of ideas for that, how that money can be utilized. Another positive note, the solid waste plan amendment, which we've talked about for about the last 5 years, all of the approvals and the written agreements with the townships has been sent to the state by Vicki from American Waste for final approval. So hopefully within the next 30 days, that will be finished, all approved by the state, and we can put that to bed for another few years. I'm in the process of reviewing final fiscal numbers for 2020. I'm anticipating final transfers from the general funds to the other funds to cover some of those losses. We have discussed juvenile detention would be one. The airport's going to require larger transfers than prior to. It looks like the law library, again, will be another one that we've got to allocate some additional funding to. So when I get those numbers, I will let you know. However, I do accrual back of payroll and bills through the end of March. I'll process those through to make sure I don't miss any bills that were expenses incurred in December or November of 2020 that we pay out this year. So it'll be a couple months before I have hard numbers for you. I am going to be meeting with Mr. Blasky through the airport, his attorney in the next few weeks. We're going to see if we can come up with some sort of agreement in regards to the easement access and trimming of the trees for the one runway. I'm hoping between the two of us that we can find something that suits the Board of Commissioners representing the entirety of Roscommon County and Mr. Blasky as an individual resident who is a neighbor of the airport. So we will keep you informed with that. And I know Mr. Milburn will touch a little bit more on that later in his report as well. Another good thing, our Director of Veteran Affairs, Heath, has been recertified with the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. He's good again for another 5 years, so we can keep him around for a while. So that's a positive thing since he does a great job. I did have discussions in the last few weeks with our soil erosion drain commissioner, Rex Wolfson. He is interested in pursuing the potential of a soil erosion ordinance. This is not something new across counties. A lot of our neighboring counties have them. Essentially, it gives powers to soil erosion to actually issue fines and fees for non-compliance instead of basically us taking them to court individually. So that's something that I think would be a really good thing to look into and see about putting together by the end of the year. I'm also starting to work with the administrator for Genesee County, and then I will work with our prosecuting attorney, Mary Beebe. The unclaimed body process is starting to become almost a full-time job for me, it feels like. we've got to come up with some sort of a process and potential cost recoveries. We're looking at people now that have, they have property and they have maybe some assets in the bank that could be utilized to cover county costs. Nobody's claiming them, but there's a way in different forms to go in on behalf of the county, myself on behalf of the county, to apply for reimbursement from those funds. Clearly, we don't want them all. With second cousin twice removed can have it. We just want the $2,100 for burial, since nobody wanted to step forward to claim the individual, but was more than happy to step forward and claim the bodies, or to claim the estate. Essentially, I think it's kind of the right thing and the right way to move forward. We do have a quick COVID pay update. Obviously, per federal laws, we were complying with paying for the up to 2 weeks of COVID leave as mandated. That expired on 12/31. So did our payment of COVID. As a caveat, I believe I copied most of you on it, but just to remember that all of our employees now receive 40 hours of paid medical time at the beginning of every calendar year. So there is an additional, they have that 40 hours that they can start with, in essence. There are 2 employees that had spoken prior to the ending of this about if a certain event, one specifically related to military training, would allow them, if needed, to be covered for COVID pay. And obviously in those instances, for those 2 individuals, we will grandfather them in, because that was a promise that was made to them, especially when you look at military pay. Certainly we want to encourage people to be able to go attend and be safe. So I think I have one more thing. Yes. One of the things that I'm going to start looking at and working on is, has come up in the talk group for the county administrators, controllers, is looking at a remote work possibility. Well, it's actually would be a policy. Clearly, we've invested now all of this money into everybody being able to work remotely, but we've got to come up with some kind of policy and guidance on how that looks, when that looks, how you're approved, how you report what you're doing, those types of things. So that is on my bucket list. And I think that's all for now.
Okay, any other comments from any questions from any commissioner in regards to our administrator controller's report?
Good report. Thank you, Jody.
Okay, Commissioner Melvin?
I just thank you to Jody for letting me sit in on the hiring of the new maintenance director. She doesn't have to. That's part of her job assignment, but it's nice that she relies on my 21 years of experience as a maintenance employee by Roscommon County.
Okay, Commissioner Muckenthaler?
Just a good job, Jody. Keep it up.
Commissioner Milburn?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Jody. Good report. Got enough going on, don't you? Okay, under correspondence, we've got Northern Lakes Community Mental Health Authority, their 12 meetings and where they're taking place for the next year. Item B is there's a letter from Mary Ann Tappan from Oscoda County Council on Aging. And then also a copy of a letter that was, I believe, was published in the Resorter about 3 or 4 weeks ago from Mr. Pettit. And I'll put that in there to make sure that every commissioner has that. Item C, Northern Michigan's Assessment Center. This goes back to the tree that Alicia and Jody made sure happened for the commissioners. We sponsored a tree and they've raised $5,400. So it was, I think it's the best one they've ever had. So Becky Yunker has reached out to us to thank us for that. Any comment from any commissioner in regards to correspondence at this time, please? Okay, hearing none. On to monthly department reports. We've got a report from Roscommon County Economic Development Report from Brenda Batchelder from Michigan Works. Any questions in regards to monthly department reports? Okay, hearing none. Item 11, any visitors that'd like to be recognized at this time, please? Hearing none. Under unfinished or new business, we did approve, or we did include the final review of the board rules. Basically, just wanted to touch on that. Everybody's got a copy of that. I think Michelle's done a bang up job in getting that done. I thanked her immensely for doing that. And item B is the commissioner committee list. Everybody has a copy of that, correct? Anybody have any comments in regards to the board rules or the commissioner committee list? Commissioner Muckenthaler.
No, I do not. Have any comments?
Commissioner Russo.
No comments at this time. Thank
Okay,
you.
Commissioner Melvin.
No comments at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Milburn.
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I think they're acceptable, and I move that we move to motions and resolutions. Item 13. Michelle, you are up, please.
Move to adopt board rules as presented for 2021.
So move, Madam Chair, or Mr. Chair.
Second,
Motion was made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Russo to adopt the board rules as presented for 2021. Any additional comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing none, roll call.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes,
Schneider,
Yes,
Russo,
yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Motion carried.
motion number 2, please.
Move to adopt committee assignment list as presented for 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Motion was made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to adopt the committee assignment list as presented for 2021. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time, please? Hearing none, roll call.
Russo,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Melvin,
no,
Schneider,
Yes,
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
okay, motion number 3, please.
Move to appoint the following employees to serve on the Roscommon County Wage and Salary Committee for fiscal year 2021. Benjamin Lowe, Noel Martin, Christy Danger, Amy Foster, Keith Nemeth, Nadine Lockwood, Teresa Downey, Kay Myers, Vance Stringham.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Motion is made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Russo to appoint the following employees to the Roscommon County Wage and Salary Committee. I will not state their names again. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing none, roll call.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes,
Russo,
yes.
Melvin.
Yes,
Motion carried.
motion number 4, please.
Move to appoint April Hare to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board effective January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024.
So move.
second,
Motion was made by Commissioner Russo, seconded by Commissioner Melvin to appoint April Hire to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing none, roll call.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes,
Melvin,
yes,
Russo.
Yes.
Motion carried.
okay. Committee reports, Commissioner Melvin.
okay, let's see, looking at my calendar here, we had an agenda meeting on the 7th. We had Veterans Affairs Committee also on the 7th. We helped 2 veterans find housing. We also have an enrichment program to make the lives of the veterans in the county more fulfilling. We have a tubing at Hanson Hills opportunity for a veteran and 3 family members that is free. And we're also working on cross-country ski headquarters, cross-country ski package for a veteran and 3 family members. And also included with that is a free large BC pizza and 1 large 1 liter soft drink. And we're working on that. We had a veteran who died, left his house to the Veterans Affairs Committee, and we're working with an attorney and probate on the transfer of that house to the county. And we're also working on the liaison with the jail to help incarcerated veterans. And that's all I have.
Okay. The jail program you just alluded to lastly, Ken, is that the program that Heath enlightened me about, I believe was yesterday?
Yes,
Okay, and he's working, he's already working with the sheriff and undersheriff in the jail, correct?
yes,
Okay, and then I did say that I think that they still need to get the court side involved with that's still on his radar. So, sounds like a good program.
yes, it is.
Okay, great. Okay, any questions from any commissioner in regards to Commissioner Melvin's report? Okay, Commissioner Russo.
Excuse me. Claims and accounts, 911 Authority Board, Planning Commission, and Holton Lakes 1 inch over winter level at this point with everything wide open.
Okay. All right, any questions for Commissioner Russo in regards to his report? Okay, Commissioner Muckenthaler.
We had our organizational meeting on the 4th, on December 6th or January 6th. We had a township meeting via the phone, claims and accounts, and that's it.
Okay. Any questions for Commissioner Muckenthaler in regards to his report? Okay, hearing none, Commissioner Milburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Valentino and I met with Mr. Blaski on Monday to move forward, hopefully on the airport. Cutting the trees is something that we're focused on. It would take a little bit longer. Mr. DeMudd, I believe, is on vacation, so we're hoping to meet with him and move forward very soon. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Milburn in regards to his report? Okay, my report, organizational meeting at 10 o'clock on January 4th. I guess at this point, I'd like to thank you gentlemen for appointing me chairman for 2 more years. Although sometimes I may look back at that and wonder if it was right, but it works out. Agenda on the 7th, board meeting. There seems to be a number of things going on. I have been trying to reach out to you gentlemen as far as communicating a little bit more with you on your part or on my part. And if you could do the same, if anything comes up on your part, please keep me informed, okay? So in regards to health department, I've been in contact with them on a weekly basis. There are vaccines out there. They're moving to 1B, but there are not enough vaccines out there to take care of everybody at this point. And if you watch the news, the state did they did request some additional vaccine from the federal government, and I believe they got approved for it yesterday, if I heard that correctly. So, but there's 83 counties out there, and I don't know how far some of these vaccines go. So, let's stay tuned on this thing. They're from 1A down to 1B now. So that's all I have. Anybody else have any questions in regards to commissioners' reports? Okay, hearing none. On to item 15, public comment this time, please.
This is Michelle. I have
Yes.
a couple things.
Yes.
I was just going through all my paperwork and I had asked Jody at the agenda meeting that MERS paperwork that she gave us, that defined benefit plan adoption agreement addendum, that should have been in our packet. So that way everybody would have known what it was. So just so you know, we will have a copy over here with the packet. The other thing, which I probably could have brought it up during the work session, is that currently the state is performing a risk limiting audit. I'm sure some of you have probably heard about that, what it is. And so 9 of our townships are participating in that. Nestor got out of it because we did the post-election audit on their documentation and everything from the election, and everything balanced, all the proper votes, the counting was correct. And Bacchus just got lucky. They didn't have to participate in it. So we are working on that. And that was all.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Any other public comment out there, please? Okay, item 16, adjournment, please.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second,
Motion is made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Russo, that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.